Welcome back to Redux Reviews, aka pretty much, of course, at least the remaining Pictures of Horror 1. And I am the Cinema Stein.
Salutations, my fiendish fanatics. I'm the Silver Screen Slasher, and for this Redux review, we are going to take another look at the original Nightmare on Elm Street, released in 1984.
Yep. Before though we get into the main film itself, the film was directed by Wes Craven, and Wes Craven is also pretty well known in the world of horror, also directing such low-budgeted made-for-TV classics like the 1972 The Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes, and of course probably his second most famous work alongside Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream.
Funny, I thought it was the
film itself as well. Well, Craven actually, by the way he came up with the Nightmare on Elm Street was actually from a series of articles where it talked about a group of refugees coming from Southeast Asia that were unfortunately suffered horrible nightmares and mysteriously died in their sleep. And I must say, that is one hell of a creepy story, to say the least.
It's definitely one way to go out as well.
Yeah. Anyway, the plot of this film is pretty much about the group of teenagers being stalked and killed in their dreams by a child serial killer named Freddy Krueger, who also controls dreams. But yeah, I know that's pretty much it, for at least the plot. Now, Silver, what do you have to say about this film, and what makes it so interesting and special to you?
Well, this film basically is... Well, it started out as one of the franchises that got me into horror in the first place, since I actually started out watching the third film, Dream Warriors. But in regards to the original, I think it works well as a dark but still a comedic horror movie. I mean, it has a few laughs in there, but it doesn't go all the way out to be too dark and gritty.
So, what I like about the original is that in this one, Freddy he's a little bit comedic in this one, but he's more like, how should I say, like more very twisted comedic. Like he does his own like dark, twisted, at least sense of humor, of intimidation in his dreams, like cutting off two of his fingers, for example.
Oh yeah, his iconic finger knives. Basically, a bunch of razor blades is welded onto a classic glove.
It all also what's also to me at least made Nightmare on Elm Street so unique to me as well, and so when I say this, but it wasn't like any other horror movie slasher back in those days. Like, don't get me wrong, as much as films like the Chain, the Great, and everything, you see, this one, for example, didn't have the stereotypical teenagers. Like, there was no nerd, there was no jock, there was no good-looking one, there was no prankster. It was just, had none of those tropes. The teenagers in this were just completely different, real, and authentic, and believable. And had real struggles and problems.
I absolutely agree with that. And honestly, my favorite relatable character in this entire film would probably be Nancy Thompson, played greatly by a 20-year-old Heather Langenkamp. She's honestly one of my favorite final girls in all of horror movie history.
Yeah. She's at times, of course, scared, stressed, annoyed, frustrated, and just downright traumatized, but at the same time strong as well.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, not to mention... yep.
Alright. What I was going to say is that we can't talk about any Nightmare on Elm Street film without mentioning the iconic villain himself, the bastard son of 100 maniacs, Frederick Charles Krueger.
Before we get to him, I just want to quickly mention some of the other characters in this film. Next, we also have, by the way, which I heard was also the very first time I ever saw this actor, but the very young Johnny Depp.
Playing Nancy's boyfriend, Glenn.
Glenn, yep. And, I hate to say it, but he's not really memorable in this, but he does alright still. I would dare say the only memorable thing about him, even though this part of it we'll talk about later, but all I can say is he has a really cool and very memorable death scene.
Agreed.
Next is Tina. Oh, I must have forgot as well, but what's so great as well is that in the first few minutes, because the film kind of does a bit of a psycho thing here, if you know, where they make you believe that Tina for a while starts off as the main protagonist, but she's killed, I believe, 20 minutes in. And then, of course, it switches to Nancy Thompson.
So, in other words, Craven pulled the screen before Scream even came out.
Yeah.
Next up is Rob, Tina's boyfriend, and he's played by Jesus Garcia. Honestly, he's okay. He's not, much like Tina, he's not really that memorable a character, and he just doesn't come off that much as iconic to me.
Yeah, he's alright, but the only quick thing I can really say about him, and at least kind of parts about him that does happen, but is that he's pretty much, framed for Tina's death, and so because the night where she is killed, he was in the same room as her, and of course, he's arrested, and he's pretty much spending this time now in jail for being framed, of course, for a crime he didn't commit.
Mm-hmm. And
next is really the only effects of at least sort of cool effects of the film / death scenes that I want to talk about. Oh wait, almost forgot. Sorry, my bad. How can I almost forget? Right now, the most iconic and best character of the film, of course, like Sylvester himself, the bastard of 1,000 maniacs himself,
the bastard son of 100 maniacs, Freddy Krueger, played by Robert Englund.
Robert Englund is fantastic as Freddy Krueger in the role, and even still is to this very day. Like, even just recently when I saw him in a quick part of, I believe one of the new recent seasons of The Goldbergs. Even for a very short role, but he was still great as Freddy.
Mm-hmm.
But how can anyone forget him as well? Of course, the man with the burnt face, the striped sweater, and the clawed glove.
Mm-hmm. Interesting fun fact.
What's not to like about him?
Fun fact: originally, the role of Freddy Krueger was originally going to go to the actor David Warner, but the original makeup design apparently didn't go over so well, and so Warner passed on the role, and that's why we have Englund as Krueger.
Also, Freddy Krueger was just so popular that for a very, kind of traumatizing movie, he also was very beloved by kids. Like, seriously, even kids loved the guy. Even they were, of course, wouldn't have been old enough to, of course, watch any of the movies. He was still very popular with kids.
Damn. He's that iconic. Now.
Yeah, he was that iconic even at that time. Now, of course, let's get to the effects / the two really cool death scenes of the film. Tina's death scene and Glenn's death scene. Holy crap. The effects and the work that was done here on those death scenes is freaking frightening still to this day. And just downright, they're fantastic as well.
Mm-hmm. And I actually know how they accomplished them. For both Tina and Glenn's death scenes, they actually built rotating rooms that they could use to move the actors around with all the furniture nailed to the ceiling. And in the case of Glenn's death, when he just gets pulled through his bed and erupts in a geyser of blood, and when they actually show it in a rotating room, it actually looks a lot eerier than you think.
Anyway, The next thing I want you to get to is some of the facts now. First off, originally, actually, the location, at least, like the town or the city they were going to film this movie in, I believe was originally supposed to be Los Angeles. But obviously, as we all know now, that they didn't do that.
No,
That's an interesting fact. One of the dream clinic doctors, right, where, of course, that scene where Nancy goes to a dream clinic and is, being pretty much, I guess, monitored on her sleeping. One of the doctors there would actually eventually, a few years later, become the voice of Roger Rabbit, who, of course, plays, the man lead and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Go figure.
But not only that, the same guy, just to quickly let you know as well, because not many people seem to at least mention this, but he also played a very small role in David Fincher's The Zodiac.
Well, how's that?
Yep. Actually, sorry. Two more facts. I didn't notice myself until I kind of realized it, but Freddy's really only officially shown on screen for only about 7 minutes at least of the movie. Only 7 minutes he's on screen.
Jeez, that's a real short time he's on screen.
So just the time the terror flips lost. The ending, of course, to the film. Originally, I believe it was the producer, right? But originally it was supposed to end with Nancy just going on the school bus and driving off into the fog. But then, of course, the producer changed that and, of course, wanted a twist ending because, well, he wanted to, of course, get fans hyped for possibly future sequels.
So, after Nancy defeats Freddy by ignoring him to death, basically, we end in a sort of a dreamlike sequence where Nancy and all her friends get basically stuck inside the Freddy mobile and driven off to who knows where.
Yep. That's one of the few things I kind of find a bit confusing about the ending still to this day. So then what happened after that? Did she live? Did she somehow escape it? Did her mom really die there? What happened?
Basically,
one of the few things that I question, but I find that still a very thrilling ending, though.
Basically, that movie was one big FU by the New Line Cinema producer Robert J. And honestly, even though I don't hate the guy, I do hate him for pulling a stunt like that. Not cool.
Oh, well, two more quick things I actually want to mention there. Just briefly, even he also only plays a minor role throughout the film as well, but Nancy's dad, the sheriff of the town, played by the legendary John Saxton. John Saxton, as usual, does pretty dang good in the role, and yeah, I think he's entertaining as usual. And last as well, how can we forget the iconic theme for the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, if you know? 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, you better lock your door. 5, 6.
That's just the nursery rhyme. I'm more of a fan of the composition score done by Charles Bernstein, which honestly is one of the most eerie sounding scores for any movie. Right alongside John.
Oh, yeah, you and that other one too. Oh, so eerie. Even every time I hear that theme, I'm just like, oh yeah, that person's screwed.
And that was A Nightmare on Elm Street. And let's be honest, it's one of the best 80s horror movies that exist out there.
Like I said before, it's so well done. Like, what I like about it, of course, it wasn't very stereotypical at the time. Wasn't it, about a killer with a knife slashing people in different neighborhoods or whatever. And it also didn't have the stereotypical teenagers. And it's got creative ideas, creative effects, and creative camera work. And just so great. Even just the villain itself is just very well done and inventive as well.
Not to mention it broke new grounds for
just very, very frightening for the time, and still, I would dare say, even to this day.
Not to mention it broke a whole new ground for both horror movies and their villains in general. No longer would theaters be stalked by overgrown madmen in masks. Now we would have a wisecracking son of a bitch who wasn't afraid to hide his face.
One more quick thing I want to mention is actually unlike the Sailor, which I will admit, I can see why some people complain about this, but later on, since Freddy is, of course, known for making, pretty wise crack jokes, as at least, the next few sequels are good, by mostly the later ones, he would start to become a bit too goofy to me, in my opinion.
And to be fair, that's when he was riding his pop culture status too much.
Yeah.
Now, for my final score for Nightmare on Elm Street, I will admit, while this movie is one of the all-time favorites, it's not perfect. It has a few issues to it. Some of the effects don't stand out. And the fact that a lot of the adult characters in this movie are so stupid and basically ignore the kids and let them get ripped to shreds, it really took me off. So I'm going to have to give the original Nightmare on Elm Street a 9 out of 10.
Yep. Also, I agree too. It's so well done, I would honestly give it actually even a 10 out of 10. Just really well done, because it was probably even one of my first ever horror films I ever saw, and ever since I saw it, I still think it's fantastic to this day. 10 out of 10 for me. And
on that note,
yep.
Next time, well, it's October. So, it's time to bolt the windows and batten down the hatches and open up the picture house of horror for business.
Yes.
Until next time, I'm the Silver Screen Slasher.
And I'm the Cinema Stein, and we'll see you in your dreams.